Emails. Emails. I don't know about you lot, but the past few days, well, past week have been difficult, revealing, and let me try and explain this. I won't go into personal details. Karma. In the West, people have this understanding that karma is if you did something bad 5 years ago, it will come back and bite you on the bum. If you did something bad in a previous life, yes, reincarnation is real, then you've got karma from previous lives that you need to sort out. Yes, that's very real. But then people think, well, if you're just nice, if you just be nice, then you can correct all your karma and it would all go away. It's not how it works. It's not how it works. It just doesn't work like that. Everything has a cyclic nature. The mind, the way it's been programmed to operate by society, by culture, works in a cyclic way. Get up, brush teeth, drink coffee, read newspaper, get in car, say hello to boss, start work, dinner break, chat to your mate, have a fag, back to work, go home, watch TV. Now I suspect most of you, in fact no, I'll be generous, none of you watching my videos are caught in that cycle. You're breaking out of it. But one of the things with truth seeking, the truth community, is that it's cyclic in nature. And you'll be looking there, then you're looking here, and you're looking up there and down here, but nobody's looking in here. All of these truth channels, they're rabbit warrens, you know, and you'll keep following them until you burn out, until you have some kind of mental episode. There's no truth in those communities. They're communities. Flat Earth. What was the other one? Concave Earth. Listen, it doesn't matter. I've said this before. It could be a fucking Rubik's Cube. What difference does it make? Well, they lied to us. Tell me something new. You've been lied to since the moment you were born. Everything you think about yourself is a lie. The truth, the bottom line is that you are all gods and you've all forgotten. And in a world which programs you to worship the external God, which you are actually a part of, remember Jesus said, he said, you are gods. He also said, I and the Father are one, the unified field. So what's limiting your capacity to understand these simple truths? It's not the government. What, are they coming around your house with a stick? You must believe this. I suspect most of you don't watch TV. If you do, get rid of it. So what's in the way? What's in the way of you discovering the ultimate truth and then no longer partaking in any of the lies? Well, it's your mind. It's your mind that hides things from you. Now, I've been down that road, so we can study everything. You could study, some of the more interesting channels. Characters like Michael Tsarian, characters like Randall Carlson. You can start looking into the pyramids, and you can study these things until your fucking eyes bleed, and you've just got a head full of knowledge. Whoopee fucking do. Do you feel any better? Has anything changed out there? More importantly, has anything changed in here? If you want to affect change in the world, you have to do it from within. You can't do it out there. That's what the government's doing right now. They are attempting, or the New World Order is attempting a soft coup. And people are so comfortable. They might not like it, but they'll buy it. What was it I heard earlier today on the internet as I was looking around? Somewhere in America, they have offered a bag of marijuana if you get the jab. This is a suggestion. And in the Senate, one of the senators has suggested giving each person that gets the jab $1,500 as part of the stimulus package. The government has never, ever given anything away free. And all of a sudden, they're so desperate that you take this jab. The word of God is your DNA. What if this jab, or even the thing they stick up your nose, was part of the vaccine, and it affects your DNA at the point where it can no longer do what it normally does, and that is send and receive, because DNA is a fractal antenna. But people will take it because they believe the government. So who's sorting the wheat from the chaff? Is that God? Is that the Father? Is that the unified field? Or is that mankind's free will? Does mankind have free will if they don't have knowledge of good and evil? Now, many of you don't trust the government and you won't take it. But there's jobs to go to. You have aspirations and dreams, desires. It's going to get harder. It's going to get harder. You have to lose everything. And the easiest way to do that, rather than losing it in the physical, is to lose it in the spiritual. And the spirit is consciousness. That's all it is. It's just consciousness. Let's not get all woo-woo about the word spiritual. That's half the problem. It's even the New Age spiritual community. They spend most of their time talking utter shite. Meditation. That's the way. Oh, there are other ways, Danny. Yeah, go to a jungle, fucking ayahuasca, take DMT, some drugs, gate crash higher consciousness, then get your fucking ass booted out again. You got a sneak preview and fuck all else. Nothing more than a little knee trembler behind the bike shed. And then you get ejected. People say, oh, but it changed me. Yeah. So does war. There's lots of things that change people. It's bigger than that. You can research until you're blue in the face, but everyone's looking outside themselves. If you want to know everything, if you just want to know the ultimate truth, then you'll look inside. You've got to wait. You've got to walk away from all that, all the confusion, the babble. Babble is Hebrew. It means confusion. And you go into a silent place. Remember, God made the temple in silence. Meditation, people. Rebuilding the temple. Rebuilding this. Now, I get emails. I do appreciate them. Right, let's just go through them. I have had some breakthroughs in meditation. Yeah. Jim Morrison, break on through to the other side. I have seen colourful circles that contract to a point. I have seen different coloured flashes of light. I have seen a green screen with a centre glow, which, for a few seconds, took me into a green room with symbols written all over the walls. Yeah, that's called the Halls of Amenti. It's also called the Akashic Records. There was a singer called Shaking Stevens, and he had a song called Green Door. Oh, and I can't remember the lyrics, a long time ago. So there's something going on behind the green door. So Shaking Stevens, Green Door. And these artists are dropping hints. They have been doing it for a very long time. Art disguises the truth. It fools the deaf and blind, and it amuses and fortifies those that can see and hear. And right. Also in that song, The Sound of Silence, it's written on the tenement walls. Okay. Now, also during a dream, I had a blinding white light, then saw the second sun on the horizon. Even though meditation is difficult, I feel like I'm being helped somehow by someone. Oh, it sounds like the student is ready. And the master has arrived. Hold on tight. What was that? Yeah. Hold on tight, Dorothy, because you're not in Kansas. Something like that. These lights. And then there was light. There you go. Okay. About 10 years ago, I had a physical attack from an entity while awake. A few days ago, I was attacked in a dream. Both times, I repeated the name of Jesus Christ and the attacks to stop. Any thoughts on this? Am I making progress, or am I just whacked? Right. When you start this journey, you feel like you're losing your mind. That's good, but you don't lose it. You get it back, and you're a whole lot smarter. Now, I haven't been attacked like that. I've had some weird experiences, certainly before I really realised what was going on. One of them, shouldn't really speak about it, but I will, because I was on the sofa, I was daydreaming, and I was getting a blowjob. And it freaked me out because there was nobody there. And it was broad daylight, and I was sleeping on a sofa, and my wife at the time was watching TV. That was an odd experience. And I think they call it succubus or incubus, something like that. Never happened again. I'm not even sure I should put that. But it's a form of attack, isn't it? It's a violation. As for, both times I repeated the name of Jesus Christ and the attacks to stop. Right. Right. Your higher self is Jesus. So, and the name Jesus is errant. It's the letter J didn't exist until the 17th century. And the name Jesus comes from two gods. One was a druid god called He, and the other god was a Greek god, a Titan, and his name was Zeus, also known as the planet Jupiter. Jesus. Over time that became Jesus. And this was done by the Nicene Council. Okay. Rome corrupting things. In the Dead Sea Scrolls, the Qumran scrolls, or the Nag Hammadi texts, it's the same thing. The name is, in ancient pictographic Hebrew, the name is revealed as Yah-Osha, which means Yah's tool, or the implement of Yah. So when the spirit of Yah is in you, he will use you to tell people the truth. Okay, so ultimately, these attacks are psychological. They are, Carl Jung wrote about these things. So I couldn't give any more information on that, other than more meditation. And another email, it's from the same individual, and I know you haven't yet had a chance to read my other email, but here I am again with questions. Whenever you can. By the way, I have always liked that song by the Bellamy Brothers. Yeah, it's a great song. Is baptism the kundalini, or is something else? And living waters. Right. Getting your head baptized at a local church or in a river is just getting your head wet. It's a waste of time. You may as well just empty a pot of water on your head. Right, so the baptism is when your cerebrospinal fluid is clean and alkaline, because you're not drinking alcohol, you're eating the right foods, you're eating less, and you're definitely not eating dead flesh. There's a secretion from the brain and it goes up. Okay, that's the baptism. Now, to get the secretion to go up, you abstain from sex. Well, not so much sex, but from the orgasm, because you want the energy to go up. Right. The kundalini is a part of that. That's the kundalini is what... The kundalini is energy. It's electric energy. Well, electromagnetic energy. They call it the Pingala and the Ida in India. And it goes into the brain, and that's the illumination. That's the enlightenment. That's when you have knowledge of good and evil. So that is the beginning. So when you're reading Genesis, which means the beginning, and it starts talking about the serpent going into the garden with Adam and Eve. Adam is your intellect, Eve is your subconscious. That's what it's talking about. It's not talking about a couple that were naked in the garden thousands of years ago. It's talking about you. So when you've had that kundalini experience, that's the beginning. That's your individual Genesis. Okay? The living waters. The secretion, when your cup starts to overflow, you have an excess of this new wine, and the new wine drips down into the back of your mouth, back of your throat. I have not experienced this yet. My house I've still got some cleaning to do, okay? But then that's why King David said, my tongue cleaves to the roof of my mouth, because he was receiving that. Yogis do it as well. And it's got trace minerals and DMT in it. So you're stoned. The stone, the philosopher's stone, the love of wisdom, the inner experience. So that's the living waters. Is coffee allowed at all? I have cut back, but still have some. Yes, I still drink coffee. But those things will go away. Now, don't try to do the work of the malak. Now, in your last email, you said something's helping you. That's the malak. Malak is Hebrew. It means the angel, the messenger. Okay? And that's what helps you. It's your own personal Jesus, because it's you. It's nobody else. It's you. Now, your higher self is consciousness, it's awareness, and that is connected to the unified field, which is the Father. Okay, it's one and the same thing. So you're not separate from it, but your mind's in the way. And as your journey progresses, you'll start to realize that actually, as you've already alluded to, that your mind has fooled you. Remember, Satan fooled the world. And you're overcoming this deception. You're starting to realize that you're not alone. And never was. Right. Have you been referring to the plasma apocalypse or EMPCO? Right, for those of you who don't know, EMPCO is EMPCOE. And it's electromagnetic pulse changeover event. When you shift the kundalini, which is electromagnetic energy, and as it goes up your body like a snake, it lights up what they call the chakras, or the chakra. And it lights up because you've been practicing the single eye, meditation, and your body will fill with light. And when your body's full of light, you will have knowledge of good and evil. Now, so, apocalypse means revelation, change. When that happens, you're going to change. Trust me. And you'll try and hold on to things, but it will be taken from you one way or another, because you're on the path. You are now an Israelite, or you are Cain. But Cain was marked and was protected by God, remember? So have solace in that. People think, oh, Cain was bad. No, Cain killed his brother. Cain killed the sacred secretion. That's what you're supposed to do. You kill the ego and you become one. When the two become one, the two witnesses, the ego and the higher self, your personal Jesus. Get it? It's the same thing. But all these religious stories and the way they tell the story is a lowly and little perspective, and that's the programming that you've inherited. That shit's gotta go. If you're watching stuff on YouTube, even if it's remotely religious and they're talking about things like lords, walk away. You cannot be free and have a lord. It's an oxymoron. And if you think you can be free and have a lord, you are a moron. Not you. Because it's simple logic. You are either free or you're not. And if you've got somebody in here lording it over you, then you're not free. That's usually the ego. But when you overcome the ego, your mind is free. Okay? Right, you need to have the plasma apocalypse, the revelation, the change, the EMP, the electromagnetic pulse changeover event. So a pole shift, the energy from low to high. That's knowledge of good and evil. Knowledge is God. You know, the God knowledge, rather than the where you were in the carnal world, in Sodom and Gomorrah. These lights. Right, or you go on, or a solar flare. Jesus spoke about being, he said to Nicodemus, you need to be born again. But how can I be born again? Have I got to go back into my mum? And And he said, no, Nicodemus, you need to be born of the water, and you need to be born of the fire. So being born of the water is the new wine. And you don't put new wine into an old skin, you put it into a new skin. Clean your house, people. Make your skin new. Okay? And then the new wine will bubble from the spring. The spring. And the baptism of fire is when you're meditating. I see gold flames like the surface of the sun now. And it's this fire baptism is cleaning out all the old stuff. So back to the theme of karma. When you initially have the kundalini, you experience a great release. All that shit you've been carrying around with you all your life, the guilt, the shame, the misery, it just goes. And you experience the I am. It's really powerful. And this is happening spontaneously all over the world, and this is what the governments are trying to stop. Okay? And it's the awakening, but it's the real awakening, not the awakening. The awakening happens in here, not out there. It's all in here, all of it. That's where you experience everything. So don't be distracted by the bright lights and the roller coasters and the beer and the circuses. That's just a fucking pantomime. It's all in here. Right, is this knowledge obtained? Oh, I've got karma. Now, so you've had your kundalini, you got the I am, and then you go back to, like, it kind of goes normal again, and you're like, I was expressing this to somebody I've been talking to for a few years now. That's simply Michelle, so hello Michelle. And I was expressing my frustration. Nothing's happening. I'm marking time. And within 24 hours of saying that, I get like that because I get kind of agitated because I know something's coming. Something's going off. Something ain't right. There's energy moving. And it's all really quite it's like you're going down a road and you know you're going into an ambush. You get a bit nervous, but you get there and it's not an ambush at all. It's kind of an ambush, but it turned out to be nothing, and it was literally a storm in a tiny teacup. But what happens there is that the karma that you've collected since your initial kundalini rising, you go about living your normal life again, then the karma builds up and it starts to pull you down again. And this is subconscious, and it's like the universe sort of plays around with things a little bit, and then you have a bit of a storm, and then it takes it off you again. And this happened on the past full moon. So whatever you are, if you're an energetic person, when the full moons, you're going to be more energetic. If you're neurotic, I'm just talking about your natural nature, your personality. That will be then whatever you've picked up since your kundalini experience, whatever karma you've had, it'll be taken off you, and it's like a little miniature reset. And then you're like, and whatever bad vibe you might have carried or picked up, that gets taken off you, and then you experience love. And it's the strangest thing. So that's why I posted that song, which Nikki actually posted for me, and I posted that. Now, where was I? So that karma gets removed from you. So don't be worrying about things. Okay, it will get taken care of. But when it's happening, you're like, oh, this is a fucking nightmare. What the fuck is going on? And then everything just drops into place, and you're like, wow. I don't know. I don't understand it. How did that happen? It just gets taken care of. Okay, and it's all good. Right, is this knowledge obtained by your inner knowledge or from external sources? I have heard it will happen in 2024. Any insight? I've got shitloads of insight. Where's yours? You know, I'm a messenger. Okay? You've got to find the insight. Stop being concerned with the outside. That's worry. That's fear. And you're listening to other people. Fear is generated by a mind that doesn't know who it is, and that's okay, because that's where you start. Okay? Go within. And you've had some good meditation experiences. Keep going. Keep doing what you're doing. But if you're expending your energy on things like dates and, you know, prophecies and religious dogmas, then you are wasting your energy. In the book of Proverbs, it says something like, in fact, no, it wasn't the book of Proverbs, it's somebody else. There's a phrase, and it is, a fool and their money is easily parted. Now, your money is your energy. And if you're expending it on foolishness, then you are parting with your money for no reason. So you keep that energy. Okay, and you've got to, whatever you're researching, you've got to ask yourself, is this benefiting me? What am I learning from it? I've just spent 3 hours watching something which might have been educational, but I could have been within, having some insight. When you have the kundalini, it's, your life will be directed in a very, very subtle way. You will experience many things, and you will simply know things, and you will be drawn to things. Things will be shown to you, and that's the education. That's where your master is teaching you, the student. But if you're going backwards and forwards like Tina, you'll get nowhere. And you're not in a position to help anybody else. So it takes discipline, and you've got to take responsibility, because it's us that have forgotten who we are. So as individuals, we have to take the responsibility to find out who we truly are. And I can't go to the bloke next door and, you know, or the man down the street or government and say, who am I really? Because they're lost, and they're not looking to be found. So you find yourself. You have to look for yourself. Yourself is your higher self. Know thyself. And you have to do that yourself. But you're not alone. Yourself has been there all along, waiting for you, the mind, to go, oh, and then laugh. As a child, I awoke from a dream where I was struck by lightning, full of light, and felt levitated. Is this how awakening feels? I admit that I am a little afraid. That's okay. Fear is created by the mind, because when the mind realizes that it's going to be discovered as an imposter, it gets fearful because it thinks it's going to die. Remember, in the Garden of Eden, do not eat from that tree, the tree of knowledge of good and evil. For if you eat from that tree, on that day you will surely die. And then the serpent said, the kundalini, who said you would die? No. Because God knows when you eat of that tree of knowledge of good and evil, you will be like him as God. Ta-da! And you won't die. It's a test. It's a test. To sort the wheat from the chaff. To sort the lions out. from the toothless cats. So be brave, be fearless, be like a child. Children are fearless. As a child, I awoke from a dream where I was struck by lightning, full of light, and felt levitated. It may have already happened to you. And you remembered the dream, and you felt levitated. You felt lifted up. Matthew, one of the disciples, his name in ancient Hebrew, was it Matanya? Oh no, there's one of them. I'm going to have to do the biblical names. There's one of them. I forget his name. It means Yah lifts up. Because it's energy and it lifts you up. It lifts your consciousness. Makes you upright. Okay, not bowed down. Not lowly and little. Lifted up. So, are you able to, without talking, tell if someone is awakened like yourself? I try not to say I'm awakened. Because the ego is an illusion. And an illusion doesn't exist, so an illusion can't be enlightened. But the consciousness can. In some people, yes. I have people on my phone. Well, I did have my phone crashed, but I lost a lot of numbers, and but they've been sending messages since, so I've added them back in, and some of them are. So, Nikki is. I think I knew that when I met Nikki. There was something going on there as well. But again, there are others that I just won't bother telling them anything. Not because I don't like them or anything like that. It's just because it's not for them. It's just not for them. So are you able to, without talking, tell us? No, not really. But I drop pearls all the time. Got lots of pearls. I've got fields full of pearls. I've also got fields which are empty. Those fields used to be full of fucks. And now my field of fucks is barren. No fucks will be given. And if you care to, please let me know your thoughts on these things. And I hope all is well with you. Thank you. Now, when you're in the desert, right, the wilderness, that's meditation, and that's where you all need to be. That's where it is. That's where it all is. So, take care, folks.